Never explore alone. Experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward. I am in Sakleshpur. I came here to do a recce for organizing rides in the future for enthusiastic riders. However, I reached early and to entertain myself, I ventured out exploring. I am in a remote part of Sakleshpur and there are hardly any tourists here. Soon, I found a trail and kept riding along the path, which led me to this wonderful location surrounded by lush greenery and a stream. I rode beside the stream, hoping to find an opening that would lead me to the water and perhaps a way to do some water crossing. Little did I know that my enthusiasm would soon turn into a nightmare. As I rode along, I managed to find an opening that led to the water. Being experienced enough, I knew not to ride straight into tricky places. Hence, I did a recce on foot and, while at it, thought of setting up my camera there to get some third-person pop shots. I noticed that the tracks were created by 4x4 jeeps and, judging by the depth of the ruts, I realized the soil was loose. But when I walked on it, it felt firm. As I reached the end, I noticed that it was all sand and there were bamboo logs kept at the edge. I guess they must be for the jeeps to turn around or for traction in case they got stuck. I even found a place that looked suitable for taking a U-turn in case I had to bail out. I set up my camera and soon rode down the track on my ADVX. All good so far. I decided not to risk it by going into the loose sand and turned towards my bailout zone. Here is where things started to take a turn. As I tried to turn my motorcycle, I realized the sand here wasn't firm enough to hold the weight of the motorcycle. The rear wheel started to dig in. I thought to myself, no big deal. I have dealt with sand earlier when the motorcycle was brand new and my experience was way less. So I assumed I should be able to get the motorcycle out in a jiffy. The more I tried, the harder things got. I switched off my motorcycle to calm myself and my breathing. At this point, I wasn't really panicking, but I wasn't thinking clearly either. It never struck me that I could remove the top box to reduce some weight off the motorcycle. I found some sticks and twigs. I thought if I placed these below and in front of the rear wheel, I could get some traction. But alas, the wheel just buried all the twigs in the ground. I tried the same thing again, thinking that if I adjusted the twigs properly, the wheel would find traction. But no. It even took me a long time to realize that I was perspiring heavily and I should take off my jacket. The amount of water lost from the body through perspiration is immense. But I only realized it later when my thinking became clearer. Suddenly, I remembered the bamboo logs. I thought if I could somehow place one under the wheels, I could break free from the spot. Soon, I dragged one of the bamboo logs to the scene, dropped the motorcycle on its side, and created a channel in the sand to place the bamboo under the wheels. I had to get the placement of the log right because it wasn't easy to move it around and the sand created too much friction. Once I was happy with the log's placement, I lifted the motorcycle up. But to my horror, it didn't align with the log. The rear wheel was out. I dropped the motorcycle on its side again and tried again. This time, the front wheel was out. I cannot tell you my frustration at this point. I had to move the motorcycle just a few feet to break free, but it wasn't happening. At this point, I'd like to mention that I am very inexperienced when it comes to sand. My off-roading journey started when I got the ADVX. Slush and sand are two terrains I handle like a novice. But I'm glad this happened. I watched many videos of people riding on sand, but theory is theory. What you learn from experience stays with you forever. It was only later in the evening while having a beer that it struck me. I should have just let some air out of the tires for better traction. Anyway, By now, I was so frustrated with the whole situation that I decided I'd get it out in one go no matter what. I fired the engine back to life and started moving. The rear wheel slid off the log and back into the sand again, but I didn't stop. I kept pushing and finally Vasuli was back on firm ground. I breathed a sigh of relief. We can't make all mistakes ourselves, so it's better to learn from others' mistakes as well. I hope you learned something from mine. My suggestion to riders, if you're not confident in a certain terrain, don't explore it alone. Ride safe and thanks for watching.